Hello, and welcome again to Real Estate Unfiltered. I cannot believe we are already in week 7. And I want to thank anyone who's been watching and paying attention, or if you have a specific question, obviously let me know. I am Jordana in Pittsburgh. I'm a real estate agent, been a real estate agent for 22 years. And I am in Pittsburgh, although I have a sphere of hundreds of thousands of agents all over the world and all over the country. And if you need anything and need help anywhere else in the country, you just let me know and I know the best people. So just want to start off by saying that. And keep in mind, every region is different. So I would connect you to the right person. Now, today we're going to be talking about, should I fix the house before I sell it, or should I sell it as is and get it on the market as soon as possible? What is the best option for me? I want to start off by saying it is going to depend on your personal situation. So I don't use a blanket situation analysis. I don't just say, oh, everybody's got to do it this way, because the reality is it's going to depend on your specific situation. That's why, as a trusted advisor, I sit down with the seller first and really figure out what is most important to you. Time, money, time of year, how fast the house sells, what is the most important? And everyone actually has a different thing. Some are similar, but everybody's, we're all a little different in what we need and want in our lives. So I want to share with you some of the things that are going to make you the most money. And I put a lot of things in threes because I think that's easier to remember. So the three things that are going to get you the most bang for your buck or most return on investment are going to be, drum roll please, Mia, are going to be paint, cleaning, and decluttering. So let me do that again, and I'll do it in the order. Declutter, clean, and paint. And again, you can do whatever order you want, but those are going to get you the most return. Now, I have the best relationships in the Pittsburgh area of people who will help you. I've trusted them for, in some cases, over 30 years, probably longer than that. So you would think there'd be a long list, but I do have a short list of people I really trust that I can say, please help, make sure you do the right thing. And they have the same values I do, and their heart is in the same place as mine. So, um, obviously use whoever you want, but again, as doing this a long time, it's nice to have recommendations. And I will also want to add, please come to me for any recommendations. And if I have them, I will give them. And most of them are based on not just my experience, but my clients' experiences. Okay, so we talked about clean, declutter, and paint. Those are going to get you the most return on your investment. Now, the other three I like to say is price, condition, location. Price, condition, location. So we can't change a location. Sometimes people say, well, this was Beverly Hills. Well, we're not in Beverly Hills. We're in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Or even within Pittsburgh, there are different locations, different price point. Different are going to demand different, or I shouldn't say demand, but we'll get different price points. Now, location, price, and condition. So the two things that we're really going to talk about with the condition and the price. What is worth spending the time and money on? And we just talked a little bit about what I believe the best things are to do. Those three items. But let's just say you wanted to do some upgrades. Let's just say you decided that you were going to question, should I put a new kitchen in? Should I put a new bathroom in? And you're looking at your house or your state and it's from the 90s and it's outdated and you wonder, is it worth putting new money into it to completely redo it? Now, I want to start by saying it depends on your background. Are you a contractor? Do you have the time to manage contractors and projects? If you're not, again, these are going to be personal decisions. So if you have the time and you know how to do it for affordable prices, which I know people who do and they flip and they do very well, then it is worth considering. If you are just looking, for example, you have an estate and someone sadly passed away in your family or friend, and you are going to be trying to sell it and you want to maximize return. Once you start a project, you have to finish the project. And if you are not familiar with doing a project, there's always, especially with older homes, things that come up that are unexpected. So let's just say a neighborhood like Lawrenceville, and you're trying to fix it up and put a new kitchen in, and the house is over 100 years old. It's not just putting a new kitchen in, it's new plumbing, it's moving the cabinets over and then finding out what the plumbing situation is. So, whatever you think you're going to spend, you're probably going to spend a lot more. Okay. And I'm going to tell you right now, the contractors are not there to hurt you, not the ones that I know who are good and reliable, finding things that they didn't expect. And so they might give you a quote and say, new kitchen's $20,000. Once they start moving the cabinet, a lot more expensive. So, is it worth putting a new kitchen in? In my opinion, I will say since we're talking in threes, right? So I would say the three things that I think are, first of all, I would never say a waste of money, okay? But that may take time and you may not get your money back. And this is according to the National Realtor Association. They put out a survey every year and they show how much of a return you get. And for a kitchen, it's very rare that you're going to get a return. Now, if you put a new kitchen in and you love your kitchen, by all means, it's great. But if you're doing it just to sell the house, and again, it's case by case basis, depending on what the current kitchen looks like, but you might be able to paint, put new hardware on, and with that, you're going to appreciate nicely. So let's just say you put $20,000 into it, a new kitchen, you might get 15,000 back. Now you've also spent 3 months of your time and energy fixing it up. So just a couple things to think about. This is again on the seller side. On the buyer side, the reality is know that you can also get this stuff done later, like we talked about with the blue paint. I'm sorry, the blue carpet scenario. You can always get the work done later, or if it's livable, that's really what matters. So again, some people want to buy a flip, and that's fine too. Um, but keep in mind, if you are not a flipper and this is not your business, you really need to consider it a business. So I'm more talking to the people who are just, you've lived in the house 10 years or it was your mom's house and you want to sell it. So here's what I will say too, because I got a message recently from somebody and they said, should I put a bathroom on the first floor? Or was it a shower on the first floor? I can't remember. But here's the thing. Without being in the house, I really don't want to give an answer to that. I don't know how much you're spending. I don't know what your house looks like. I don't know the layout. I really couldn't tell you if you're going to get a return. So again, this is where we come back to a trusted professional, which is me. And that's when I will come and take a look. Now, keep in mind when we price it, that is based on what we believe a buyer will pay at the current time. But that being said, we can't guarantee that price. I can't guarantee because you know who at the end of the day determines the price, Mia, is the buyer. So I might think it's worth 275, and in the end, a buyer thinks it's only worth 250. Or I might think it's worth 275, and the buyer thinks it's worth 300. Every house is different, every property is different, every market is different. So really at the end of the day, the as far as if you should fix it or sell it or price it, I think we really need to sit down. First of all, I need to see the house. I need to see the house to make that determination. And then we need to sit down and come up with understanding what you're trying to accomplish, where your next moves are, how much money you have to put in. And then from there determine if it's better to price it and move quickly, or if there's some smaller things you can do. And I know we're on the three things, but I do want to add a couple more things, which is curb appeal. Curb appeal is very important too. So if, it's spring, make sure that the flowers look beautiful. I mean, spring is coming up, right? Painted porches, things like that. So again, we're back to painting, and I do have an excellent painter I have excellent cleaning company, and I have an excellent um hauler to help you declutter. Okay. So there's a lot of support out there. And I don't know. Again, I don't want to say some people just want a magic wand and say, this is what you do, and this is how you're going to get the most money. But it's not all that simple. That being said, in 22 years of being in this business, every person that I helped buy sold for more money than they bought. So some people go, I wanted to get $100,000 for, and I'm not saying for the house, they want a profit of 100,000. And I don't blame anybody for that. But at the end of the day, your option was living somewhere and renting, which you walk away with nothing. You live in a home, your own home all that time, and you're walking away with money in your pocket that if you've lived in the house 3 out of the past 5 years, you don't have to pay capital gains taxes on. So I just beg of sellers to think more of that, because sometimes I think in our current state, people go, but it's not enough money. And I don't disagree. We all need more to maybe buy a new place or help our kids out. But I will say you have to stop and say, wow, I am very fortunate that I didn't rent for the past 5, 10, 15, 20 years. All right, any questions, Mia?
Yes. Actually, is there a point where spending more on renovations actually starts hurting your return instead of helping it?
Oh, that's a very good question. So, so National Association of Realtors comes up with something. Usually, I don't know if it's once a year, but they will actually show you a documentation that they've done based on analysis that how much you spend versus how much you return. And usually they say things like a brand new kitchen or a brand new bathroom. If you are not going to get your return, you are not going to get your return. Again, if you did it for yourself 5 years ago, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm talking about to sell it tomorrow. Based on all the data, they are saying that if you spent 20,000, you will get equivalent of 15,000 back. And again, I don't want to say that's a blanket statement. It's going to depend on a lot of factors, but that would not be the first thing I would ever tell anyone to do. What other questions?
You mentioned you mentioned price, condition, and location. If a seller can only control one or two of those, what should they focus on first?
Oh, I like that. Well, obviously, location we can't control. That's out of our control. So, with the we have to make sure we price it right for the condition. And what we do is we sit down and we figure out, what are the comparables in the area? And the areas in most of the greater Pittsburgh area, we do not have, for the most part, cookie cutter houses. So it's not as simple. I know some places have more developments, and some part of Pittsburgh do, but a lot of the areas I work in have very unique houses. So we have to figure out what things that you can do and how much money you have and to invest in time and energy and effort to do those things to maximize how much you're going to get. Now, then we come up with a price. And what I always say is if we don't get an offer right away, you want to lower the price as soon as possible because a lot of it's psychology. And the buyers can see on Zillow how long the house has been on the market and they start going, what's wrong with it? And sometimes it's not wrong, nothing's wrong, but usually it starts with the high price. So if you want to start a price a little bit higher, I'm okay with that. Some people say, no, don't do that. I'm okay with that. But just know we have to lower it quickly, or buyers are going to question why it's still on the market. Does that answer the question?
Yes. And I have a follow-up last question. When is it not worth updating a kitchen before selling?
Well, again, that's when you say updating, I would say it depends on the kitchen itself. If you already have a brand new, beautiful kitchen, that's one thing. But if you have an older kitchen, sometimes, again, it will come down to painting, putting new hardware on. You'd be amazed what a difference paint and hardware. And when I say hardware, I mean like the pulleys. Um, that's going to be because if you have really good wood, let's just say from the 90s, and cabinets that are in good shape still, then it's more aesthetics at that point, right? So it's just making it look nicer. That's the key, and fresher and cleaner. So you don't necessarily need to gut a kitchen. If the kitchen, if it was built at a time where the wood was really good wood and really built with craftsmanship, again, it's going to depend on the home, and how it was, what things were done to begin with. And keep in mind, sometimes if you see a flip, sometimes they're done very well and sometimes they're not. So just because it's brand new and shiny and someone puts something new and shiny in, if you're on the buyer side, that doesn't mean it's better. So I just want to add that too. So the seller may make more money just because it looks prettier and shinier. But I want to say from the buyer side, um, it may not be worth it from the buyer side. So again, I have to, that's why it's not enough to just listen to this video. I need to come and talk to you and see the house and talk to you. Anything else?
Thank you, Jordana.
Thank you,
We
Mia.
have no more questions.
And thank you. And I just want to send a special thank you to Mia, Director of Operations for the Zober Group. She's been with me for 4 years now, which is hard to believe. Wow, time definitely flies, huh, Mia? All
Yeah,
right.
I
Well,
love working with Jordana.
oh, that means a lot. That means a lot. Thank you so much. All right. You guys have a great day, and you know where to find me if you have any questions. 412-657-3555. And like I said, you can watch this video or any of these videos at your leisure, but I am always here for further information. I just realize more and more these are common questions and concerns people have, and I just thought, why not share this information all at once? Thank you so much and have a great rest of the week.